Good morning, and welcome to the final day, day 3 of the second annual OTT.X Summit online conference and marketplace. Welcome everyone who's attending this morning. I must admit, even though I knew it was the right direction to go, I was pessimistic that the team would be able to fill a 3-day summit with enough content to keep each day interesting and varied enough, not to feel repetitive, and still deliver valuable, thought-provoking content for our members. But 2/3 of the way, and it feels like OTT.X has certainly met, and perhaps on its way to exceeding that objective. I hope you agree, and thank you, and congratulations to the OverTheTop.X team. Continuing the historical journey that Eric Opeka started us on Tuesday morning, and I think this is shown in a couple of movies. I think they touch on it in Fight Club, for example. I know it's in a classic episode of Columbo that I actually saw the other day on Peacock, of all places. In theaters, projectionists relied on a little bell to know when the film reel was about to end. And they had to get ready to switch to the other projector to change the reel. But without a bell, or as a backup plan, projectionists used to insert a nickel into the film stock itself. And so when there was about 2 minutes of film left, the film would unspool and the nickel would drop to the floor and make a noise, alerting the projectionist to change the reel. Some of you might recall seeing a laserdisc of Star Wars or whatever and having to flip it over to play the second half of the movie. I never had a laserdisc player, but I do remember movies that were too long for one videotape. So Titanic, for example, that I think I bought from buy.com at the time, was a handsome 2-volume set on VHS. And when DVDs first came out, David Lynch would not allow for chapter stops in his films, even though the technology to allow consumers to skip around was a vast improvement from previous technologies. His preconceived notion, and bias, I guess, at the time, was that he expected viewers of his films to experience them in a single sitting from beginning to end. Now, fast forward today, no pun intended, because David Lynch now actually allows you to fast forward, by the way. And it's clearly a digital and technology-centric world. The recent book about music by another eccentric David Byrne, called How Music Works, which is somewhere on my bookshelf back there, argues that consumers have historically always chosen convenience over quality. It challenged my usual assumption that technology allows continued upgrades to the experience, but he would argue, David Byrne would argue, that CDs and DVDs weren't successful because they were better, it was because they were more convenient. Cassettes were much worse than vinyl, but they were convenient. MP3s, even where we're at with digital today. It's not that 4K is necessarily better in OTT versus a physical disc. It's just that streaming is that much more convenient. And even Mike Vorhaus's assertion for years now that this is a TV set. While it used to be provocative, it's no longer debatable, as people of every age, demographic, and income level feel completely comfortable binging 15-hour-long series with a phone or a tablet propped up in bedrooms all around America and around the world every single night. So, save for the lone art house cinema in every town, movie theaters are now almost all digital, leveraging pretty much the same type of files and security that we all do for OTT. Laserdiscs are reserved for collectors as a novelty, selling for hundreds of dollars a piece. If anyone has a VHS player in active rotation, I dare you to enjoy movie night tonight using that device and see how that goes with your family. And I also dare all of you to count how many disk drives you actually all have left in the house. For me, the last couple of days have actually opened my eyes up a bit. And that's actually testament to the vast development of OTT.X's commitment to its members and its fast maturing charter and purpose to support the entire OTT industry. Long-standing players, new entrants, a marketplace of distributors, service providers, new entrants, and even new models and services that didn't even need to exist just a year ago. Even as Fandango's position in the marketplace is to serve up premium content in all windows to movie and entertainment fans across all our brands, Fandango with our vast network of theaters, Fandango Now and Vudu with our huge libraries of new and catalog of movie and TV content, Rotten Tomatoes and Movie Clips and Discovery and Community. I think we only scratched the surface of what OTT represents today, as evidenced by the discussion for the last 2 days and all of you as attendees. I've admittedly had a bias toward traditional mainstream long form media. Maybe it's because that's my business and has been most of the focus of my career path. Or maybe it's because I live near one of those TikTok party houses that wake me up at 3:30 in the morning on a Tuesday. But either way, the acknowledgement and discussion around all of the content available via OTT in the last couple of days, Anglophile, short form, the power of originals or exclusives for SVOD and increasingly AVOD services, social and mobile content, the best practices for contracts and agreements across all these, how to market, and more importantly, perhaps how not to market, access to great industry trends and data. There's so much more now than Avengers and Trolls and supply chain for OTT in 2020, and that's good. So after hearing what everyone has to say in the last few days, I'm either cautiously optimistic or wholly optimistic, depending on the specific OTT category and where you sit in it, but optimistic for sure. Paul Kollickman said yesterday about our part of the industry, if you're not streaming, you're failing. So isn't it great that OTT is a community of streamers? So we have a great last day lined up for our members. Thanks again for your membership, your time, and your commitment to engaging more fully in our industry.